Hey Kyle, how's it going?
I'm well. How are you all?
Very good, thanks.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you guys. This is fun for me. It's not every day I get to wake up and do my research with something like Miles from Tomorrowland. So I've already had a great day thanks to you all. So
Awesome, thanks.
Did you get to watch the show?
I did. I got the stream this morning and got to see the whole thing. So it was really enjoyable because even reading about it, I didn't exactly know what I was getting into, what it would be, and what it would sound like. So once it plays out, it's a lot of fun.
Neither did we. We had no idea.
Yeah.
So Bela got into the studio, but it was a really fun collaboration. I came up with this story, and then Bela found a way to work his magic into it, which was really fun.
Yeah, and I guess that's where the question starts too, because you coming up with this story. I mean, so you've got Béla, and it's a family affair. I mean, do you write the story with something like that in mind, that you could collaborate, or was it just happen that the storyline, came about and you said, "Oh, I've got the right guy for this"?
That's a great question. It definitely was written for Bela, tailor-made for my brother. But it came out of a previous collaboration, which was this film we made that we finished in 2008 called Throw Down Your Heart, which was a documentary where we went to Africa for 5 weeks and explored the history of the banjo and where it originally came from, its roots in Africa. And Béla played with all sorts of musicians in 4 different countries in Africa: Tanzania, Uganda, Mali, and the Gambia. And, one of the things I really noticed and took away from it was how amazing it was when Béla worked with these musicians who had, there was a language barrier, obviously, but when Béla started playing, they would just suddenly get it. It didn't matter that they didn't speak the same language. These master musicians would just fall in and start jamming, and it was a really unique and pure form of communication. And that idea of kind of music as communication stuck with me and became a major theme of the whole series. When I created Miles from Tomorrowland, I wanted the family, Miles and his family, to have this mission of connecting the universe, like making connections with different cultures. And I've always been really interested in that idea of breaking down walls between cultures, and I've done that a lot in some of the other shows I've worked on as a writer and producer, and Bela has really done that as well in his music. So it just seemed like a cool fit. And in a way, I thought of this episode of Miles as like a sequel to Throw Down Your Heart that picked up some of the same themes and sort of repackaged it in a way that would work for kids, and it fit really seamlessly into the series as a whole.
And you've got that line in there in the series where one of the characters says, "You seriously think a musical instrument can save us right now?" It's
Yeah.
a bit more specific
Yeah,
to
I'm
the
glad
moment.
you noticed
but-
that.
Yeah.
That's great. That was definitely a very. I thought about that a lot. Like I wanted a character, so Miles' sister, who's sometimes a little cynical, is like, "You really think music can get us out of the jam?" And it's like, actually, yeah. And really, I hope the episode comes across as sort of affirming and believing in the power of music and what it really can do, because that's what I saw firsthand when I was traveling with Béla through Africa.
That's something I learned about a long time ago. Before, Sascha was definitely born. You were born, but you were still a youngster when I got to go travel around the world with the Bluegrass Revival, this progressive bluegrass band that I was in from 1981 till 1990. And we got these State Department tours where they would send you to, we went to Bangladesh, we went to India, and we went to Turkey, and we went to Morocco. And then later with the Cyclones, we went to the Pacific Rim countries, Singapore and Mongolia, China and Thailand and the Philippines and Indonesia. And I discovered that as a government official, I could ask them to find musicians to jam with at each of these locations. And they kind of had to do it. So the government would find me some musicians to jam with. And then we would start playing music, and everybody would just light up. And musicians would be like, "Why am I doing this?" And then I'd get on my band and start playing. And all of a sudden, I'd be learning things from them. They'd be excited that I'd taken the time to care about them. The officials would get excited. The ambassador would get excited. And it just seemed like something incredible that just an unexpected thing to sort of fall in your lap. It just came from my curiosity. I didn't want to go to these countries and not come home having learned something about their music. And then and that's what led to the idea of going to Africa. Came from West Africa. It was on my bucket list, but also knowing that it would be very unlikely. I showed up over there and we started jamming together. That seemed like it wouldn't happen. That would be very unlikely. I thought it was a sure thing. If I get over there, we would have a magical experience together, and we did. And Sascha was the person who chronicled it. He made this incredible film about it. So that's sort of that's the groundwork that led towards this particular episode.
But yeah, I would say this 11 minutes of Miles was maybe like 20 years in the making.
You know, it's thinking about, you know, here you have this Plectrix, this thing you call a Plectrix, which
right.
is, you know, a futuristic instrument, and it just so happens to sound like, you know, one of the oldest string instruments. I mean, if you know what a banjo sounds like, okay, that's obviously a banjo, which I guess it says a lot about the timelessness of the instrument for what you guys were going for.
Definitely, yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, the banjo's been in my head since I was born, because Béla was always around playing. Whenever I saw him, I heard the banjo, and it's been a part of my life always. And so, yeah, to me, it's a magical sound, and there's nothing else like it. And I really wanted to capture that idea. The idea in the episode is that the Plectrix is this sort of mysterious instrument from an alien culture. We don't know much about it, but it has this power to connect creatures who can't otherwise understand each other. And I just thought the banjo was the perfect sound for that, something that's a little otherworldly, and just feels like it's always been around. I guess that's my personal experience. It just has always been around. And then when I developed the story, I thought, it would be great is to have kind of a connection where this instrument is used to communicate with an alien that makes a similar yet different sound. So what we actually did was have Béla play two different banjos. He played his regular banjo, and then you can tell you his lower banjo, the baritone banjo, for the sound of the alien. And, we created this sort of dueling banjos moment, a little tribute to dueling banjos, where Miles and the instrument are trading back and forth. But obviously, that's all Béla playing against himself.
It was so cool to hear. And Béla, for you, you know, when you have this type of storyline in mind, do you have to think of a certain style? I mean, are you thinking, what does a futuristic banjo sound, play like?
Yeah, I was thinking of trying to come up with something kind of pure and musical that wouldn't have a particular connotation. So it was like being free and being musical, but yet not being bluegrassy, for instance, or jazzy. It's one of those things where you don't know exactly what you're supposed to do, but you know you're not supposed to do. And so you try and get into that frame of mind of love. And this is also one of those things as a musician. I'm an improvising musician, and a lot of things as an improviser happen unconsciously. You can't explain them. And there's things you can do improvising that you could never do if you were composing, sitting down trying to write it out. And so just knowing what the assignment was, building up to it, knowing what was coming, I guess the day before I was messing with the sounds and playing with ideas. And then when I sat down to actually start recording along with the video, it was kind of more like, let's just be a blank slate and see what comes. And pretty soon I had a nice little melody we could build from, and then there was a lot of places where I could just improvise freely. Well, not that many, but one significant one long channel where I was able to just play the through music for a whole scene, and that was really fun for me as a musician. I never got to do that before.
Yeah, and that I hadn't really expected. I thought, we'll have the banjo kind of, there's this scene where Miles and Loretta, his sister, are searching for the Plectrix, and they hear it off in the distance, and they follow the sound. And I thought, we'll have it kind of mixed in, but we'll have our regular score composer have the score. But once Béla started playing, I thought, you know what, this could be really cool if this is all we hear, and Béla kind of becomes the score. So even though they're listening to this instrument and it's within the scene somewhere that we can't see, the music actually goes along with the action. So when they fall into some rocks and down into an underground cavern, the music gets a little more exciting, and it's almost like there's this symbiotic relationship between the music and the characters, which was really cool and fun to play with.
As far as the the word Plectrix, is there any story about any meaning behind that?
It's funny. Yeah, I spent a lot of time thinking about a name for the instrument. I wanted it to kind of have some musical relevance, and I just kind of liked the sound of the Plectrix. It felt kind of weird. Obviously, it's based on the plectrum, but mostly like a lot of the things in the show, I just kind of liked how it sounded, and it felt vaguely musical. There's also a lot of references in the show to our movie, Throw Down Your Heart. I was really, like I said, that experience was kind of a life changer and has stayed with me in a lot of ways. And so there's a character in the show named Haruna, who's one of Miles' best friends, who's named after Haruna Wallace-Simbi, who's an amazing musician we met in Uganda. And then Umu Sangare, the amazing Malian singer who we spent time with in Mali. I used her name for an alien, sort of a mystical, all-knowing creature named Umu, who's also mentioned in this episode. And then in this episode as well, I named the planet that they go to where they find this instrument, Planet Akanting, after the kind of pre-banjo instrument that we saw and Béla collaborated with in West Africa and the Gambia.
Are you going to quiz the kids on this after the episode?
Yeah, maybe so. Well, I would just be so happy if like one day some kid is just like playing with their little action figures and is like, okay, let's go to Planet Akanting and play the Plectrix. Like, that would just be awesome. Yeah, we try to put a lot of layers into Miles from Tomorrowland in general. We want the show to inspire kids and also to push them a little bit to think about their place in the world, their place in the universe, what it means to connect with other cultures, what it means to be a member of a family that's working together, things like that, and, hopefully get inspired to learn more about outer space and potentially even learn more about the banjo. Who knows?
Yeah, and as the story ends, music can really connect the universe. If we were doing the super edit, that's where the character would say it right there.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
And that's obviously that line comes at the very end of the episode because that's sort of the summation and hopefully the message that gets across, that gets told in both the story and the music of the episode is that, and I really believe that, especially after my experience with Béla in Africa, that music can connect the universe and there should be more of it.
Well, I thank both of you guys for taking the time to talk today. Like I said, this was really fun and exciting for me. And this premieres, July 8th, right?
Yeah, the show premieres July 8th on Disney Junior, and we're just excited for it to be, it's going to be at 9 a.m. July 8th on Disney Junior, and we're excited for it to get out into the world. I love working with Béla. It's one of my favorite things to do, and to get to combine that with this show that expresses kind of who I am and what I believe was just kind of a peak experience. So I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
Ditto for me. I love working with Sascha. I'm super proud of him.
Luckily, you've got each other's numbers, so it shouldn't be hard to connect again at some point.
Yeah, we'll figure out the next thing.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Kyle. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Take care, both of you.
You too.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.